What's going on, everybody? It's your boy at Big Game James _36 at Denny Thompson, and we're doing something a little different. We're doing a college pick'em. Join us if you want the link. It should be attached on the Facebook Live, or if not, we'll make sure we put it in the Twitter description after the show. See how you stack up against me, Denny, and other people who listen to Sports Den.
I suck at this. I'm just going to tell you, I'm terrible.
Last week I would have won. I was competing against Blake.
Y'all actually did it last week?
Yeah, I went 3-7.
3-7?
3-7.
It's because against the spread. We're not doing.
It's not just pick this against the spread, and you'll come in, you'll pick they pick the games for you. I believe it's 10 games, and then we're gonna go down the list. You're gonna hear our picks. You'll be able to see our picks if you're in the group. And again, right now, this week is free. If you want to, right now, it's also presented to you by Green Acre Sporting Goods. Green Acre Sporting Goods, the go-to website, greenacresporting.com, go-to website, or 20,000 square feet off of Normandy Boulevard here in Jacksonville, Florida, of straight Second Amendment bliss. If you're
is heaven.
Yeah, if you're an outdoorsman, you need to go out here. You can get your hunt, all your hunting. It's hunting season right now. They're gonna go out there. They'll sight your rifle for you. Meaning they'll take care of everything for you if you're too busy. Right now, they got a $699 special for AR-15s. The pistol that everybody has an opinion about, Taurus 9mm, is back on sale for $299. Plenty of ammunition, plenty of things like that. And if you want to get that man in your life a special gift, for $20, you can enter a raffle. And on Black Friday, they're going to pull the ticket. But $20 gets you 4 tickets, but only if you mention the Sports Den.
There you go. So college football pick'em brought to you by Green Acres. We're going to do this every Friday. You guys can join in, like James said. I'm just going to tell you, don't use mine as gambling advice. I really wouldn't. You're going to be selling a house, a car, something to pay that off, because I'm absolutely horrendous at this. Immediately following this, we'll end this broadcast. We'll start another broadcast, which will be the Friday edition of the Sports Den that you don't want to miss. I got some stuff to get off my chest today, James. So
all right.
We'll get to that. But I don't want to do that to Z and the boys at Green Acres. We're going to keep on task here. Are we going to go straight down the line with this? Is that the plan?
Yeah, let's just go straight down the line.
What's our first game?
Our first game is the only team in the nation that promotes how many national championships they have not won. The Oregon Ducks. They have the zero. The big zero.
What do you mean?
They have a big zero on their helmet. That shows how many national championships they haven't won. The Oregon Ducks at the Ohio State Buckeyes. They are Ohio State's minus 14.5.
Whew. This is a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's at Oregon?
All I see is the game. So I guess the one to the right is the home team. Yeah. So it's in Columbus, I guess.
It's in Columbus. I'm going to go with Oregon in this.
Ooh, all right. So we already have.
I'm going to go with Oregon. But because I was not blown away by Ohio State in their opener against, was it Minnesota, right? They look clunky, man. They looked really clunky at times. I'm going to go with Oregon on this, and I actually feel fairly confident about this one.
I'm not mad at you. I think I'm going to go with Ohio State. I don't think I'm not sure they'll be able to get 15 points, but here's why. Oregon has a quarterback that everybody hates, that in Oregon's fan base, they think he's not any good.
Who is it?
I don't remember his name. I just know our guy with fifth quarter. I asked him a specific question.
It's not Anthony Brown, is it?
I don't remember the guy's name, but I asked him a specific question, and he said, I'm trying to be positive.
Oh.
So that wasn't good. And they lost Kayvon Thibodeau, however you say his name.
Oh, shoot, they did.
Yeah, so he's injured. So I don't know what even though they still have a ton of talent, I'm not 1,000% sure how they're going to do with that. So you still sticking with knowing that?
Yeah, I am.
All right, cool.
You were 3-7 last week, so if I go against
don't take my
advice.
And I wasn't 3-7 just against the spread.
Really, it was bad. Straight
up, I was 3-7. Pittsburgh versus the Tennessee Volunteers.
This is a tricky one. I'm gonna let you go first on this one. This one's at Tennessee, correct?
Yes. I'm gonna go. Man, I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna do something that I always say I hate.
Okay.
I'm gonna have ACC pride. And I'm going to
This is going to be an interesting conversation then. So you're going to pick Pitt.
I'm picking Pitt.
Okay. I'm going to pick Tennessee because I also, and it's not SEC pride, it's more, I don't know what the ACC is anymore.
Facts.
Like, so I don't think Tennessee's any good. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that. It's at Tennessee. There's a lack of film available because a whole new staff.
Mm-hmm.
It's a new quarterback. I'm gonna put all that together, and I'm just gonna think that Tennessee, they get 3.5 points, right?
Yep.
I'm gonna go with Tennessee in this one at home. Tennessee fans are gonna get super cocky after they start 2-0, and then they're gonna be let down again because they're not a very good program right now.
Not a doubt. The next one is the Hogtown Rebels versus USF, possibly the worst team in the nation.
In the nation?
They're they're up there. They're not very good at all.
Wow. The nation. Okay. So the real question in this is, can Florida's twos beat USF starters by 21? Because at least, no, at the most, because when the starters come out, can they not give up 2 or 3 touchdowns? That's the question. That's the real question is, when you put the backups in, does it happen like what happened at FAU? And do they give up a couple scores late? 29.5 is a lot of points, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of points. I do think the quarterback competition is going to help us in this because they're going to have to get them both reps. So I do think that. You know what? Give me Florida.
I'm taking Florida because the Fighting Willie Taggarts scored 14 points, and I believe the Fighting Willie Taggarts are better than USF. So, I mean, they scored 35 points against them, so I believe they'll score more points and I'll be able to stop them. I also believe that no matter how much Dan Mullen or much coaches want to purport that they don't pay attention to social media, they do. So he's got to come out and put on a good showing.
And we're going to get into a little bit of this Anthony Emery stuff at our Sportsden show in a minute, too. There's so much interesting quarterback news that you're going to want to stay involved with. So the next matchup is actually, I think this is one of the harder ones to pick.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm interested to see how you're going to go with this one. Texas A&M. Are they saying this is at Colorado? Are we sure that the last team is on this?
I don't know. I'm just looking at it.
Can you look that up, Miles, real quick? Can you look up the Texas A&M Colorado game and tell us where it's at? Because
it's at Colorado. It's at Colorado. Because even just how I'm looking at this right now, this is ESPN.
Okay, yeah. Wow, that's a huge game at Colorado, isn't it?
It's a big one.
Texas A&M giving up 17.5 points. Colorado getting 17 in a hook. I think I'm going to go Colorado in this. If it's at Colorado, I think this is one of those. It's 3:30 kick. This is one of those. It's like the whole state's been looking forward to this thing. I think Colorado's better than most people think they are. I think Texas A&M's really good, though. And I just think this is one of those games.
They're saying Jimbo has his quarterback that he's wanted since he's been there. I'm gonna go with Jimbo though, because Jimbo's going to have to start getting the tide to turn toward him to make them really feel like they could beat Bama. He's got to start kicking butt, and he can't have games where they come out slow like they did last week. I believe it's going to be a decisive victory for Texas A&M.
Yeah, when I hear your reasoning, like I want to switch, but I'm not going to because you're right. You're right.
I'm using logic for a sport that has none of it because it's all emotion and all emotion that comes in. If any, that's why I can see why people say they like the NFL more.
Yeah.
The NFL is more logic than it is with college. The next matchup we have is the Iowa Hawkeyes versus the Iowa State Cyclones at Iowa State.
Man, it's early in the year for a rivalry game, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I want to hear your thoughts on this first.
I'm going Iowa. I picked against Iowa last week, and it bit me in the butt. They're better than what I thought they were. They're never a bad team. They're just consistently slightly above average. And I think the Iowa State fairy tale with Campbell is going to go down some.
I really like Matt Campbell. I really like him a lot. It's number 9 versus number 10.
Mm-hmm.
This is a big game, and it's a rivalry game, and it's at Iowa State, which I think in college football matters. I'm going to go against you. I'm going to go Iowa State because I like Matt Campbell, and I think this is, if they want to do what they say they're going to do this year and what people have been telling us they're going to do all offseason, you got to have this one.
Well, there it is. Texas Longhorns versus the Arkansas Razorbacks. You've got, I don't even know their head coach, but I know you've got the Fighting Kendall Browse on offense.
Sam Pittman.
Okay, yeah, Sam, offensive line coach from Georgia.
Yep. Great recruiter. He's doing a good job at Arkansas, I think.
Versus L'Oreal Sarkeesian's husband. Shout out to Tallahassee, Florida, Rickards High School.
Big rivalry.
Did not know that.
Yes, huge rivalry here back in the Southwest Conference days.
Okay.
Yep. Big rivalry. It's at Arkansas, 6.5 points. Texas is favored by 6.5 points. As much as my heart wants to go Arkansas on this, I don't see them staying within a touchdown. I think it's a good game.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it'll be one that's fun to watch even.
I'm picking Texas, but this is a shame that the number 15th ranked team in the nation is only 6.5 points over a non-ranked team. But I mean, I get what you're saying, but like that's probably the weakest 15th ranked team. Like when you put it in comparison, you're 15 based upon the fact you were ranked last week and some people lost.
Yep.
Next game, North Carolina State Wolfpack. What's wrong with the Wolfpack versus the Mississippi State Bulldogs?
NC State coming off a big win. They're favored in this at Mississippi State, who had to, if I remember right, had to what was their score last week? I want to say they did not look good at all last week. The shine's off Mike Leach.
Yep.
Like
he's boom or bust. But against,
I want to go back to my ACC theory that I had earlier with Pitt, but at the same time, like Mike, I don't like Mike Leach like that. I don't.
These scores are low enough for me to say if I think North Carolina State's going to win, I know they're going to win by more than 2.5 points.
Right.
If I think I figured Pitt was a better team, they're better than 3.5 points. They'll win by a touchdown or 5 points or something like that. So I'm picking the Wolfpack.
I think I'm with you on this one. I'm with you. I'm going to be watching that game carefully because I am split 50-50 on that one, which is what a spread's supposed to do. But I'm with you. I'm taking NC State. So now we got Washington, Michigan.
Washington with the head coach, defensive specialist as a head coach, Jimmy Lake, even though I don't believe it was much defense play last week, versus Michigan, who looks like they finally have a quarterback.
Well, here's the thing, too. Rare night game at Michigan.
Okay.
So you got an 8 p.m. kick, according to this. A Michigan team that everybody is basically buried the last couple of years. Well, the logos look good. It looks like a good game. I'm going to go Michigan on this. I think Michigan, even giving up 6.5, I think Michigan runs away with this one.
I got Michigan too.
Well, that's no fun.
In a game that nobody cares about except for Mormons.
Bro, I disagree there.
No, I'm just joking. I'm like, but just put it like this. If you were to hear, like, any given day, you got the Utah Utes versus the Brigham Young Cougars, you'll be like, oh, okay. But this is going to be a late game, right?
It is. There's a couple of good late games.
I'll watch this because it's a late game, but I'm not going to pretend that I'm going to, like, I'm just very.
I'm dialed in.
Like, I would have been dialed in if this game was at 3:30.
Right.
I'd have been like, hell no. What else is on? Like, it's my son's. I want to go break down film of my son's I-9 game.
Well, by dialed in, I mean that, I have a little more whiskey I would like to drink from ABC, and it's not yet gone, and there's still football on. So that's what I mean by dialed in.
This is me in the Champions Club with Trey watching. Hopefully, Florida State has pulled away from Jacksonville State at this point. Like, all right, this football game's on, son. Let's just watch.
So what are you taking?
I'm going to go with the Utes. I mean, you're losing a top 5 pick at QB. You can't be you can't be that much more.
Well, this
improved.
is the thing that I have to guard against on when we do these pick'ems. I don't know anything about most of these teams.
I know Utah has been pretty consistent the last few years in fielding a pretty good ball club. BYU, even though they had a pretty good secondary before we all found out about their quarterback, I just BYU is a team that we're going to hear about every 3 to 4 years because those guys don't leave.
No, you're right.
They're 27 years old after they've done a 2-year mission trip, and they've got 25 kids.
Utah's always that physical, fast team too.
Right.
Like, I mean, fast.
They're one of the faster. They're one of the more physical teams in the Pac-12.
So all right, I'm going Utah as well. Final one. Boy, back in the day, this was a good game.
Mm-hmm.
Stanford at USC. Remember when everybody used to say David Shaw was the hottest coach? And
yep. It's what happens when you stay too long. Remember when everybody was firing the coach from USC?
Yeah. Well, that's when they thought they were going to get Herbs.
Well, yeah, but they haven't liked him for a while.
Wow. I really wanted to, and I'm going to. You know what? I'm going to take Stanford in this.
Me too. I'm not giving them 17.5. I don't trust USC. Everybody talks about Notre Dame, right?
Yep.
That Notre Dame bombs and bust, and that Notre Dame isn't as good and they're overrated. There's not a team that has been more overrated in the last since Pete Carroll than USC.
You're right.
Every year they get a great recruiting class. They get this good hype, even when they're about to fire their coach, because it is an iconic, prestigious program. And then they disappoint. So I'm not giving them 3 scores. I'm going with the Stanford Cardinals because, and this is the other reason. Pass happy USC traditionally, run heavy team in the Pac-12 that's so much different than every other team in the Pac-12 that they mess around and they're the ones who always derail somebody's year. And I believe that Stanford could possibly be that. They're going to have some white running back that we've never heard of. Yep. That's going to be real good. Their offensive line is going to be pretty potent, more than likely, and we'll see where it goes.
I'm with you. I'm going Stanford on this for all the reasons you just said. And I don't know anything about either one of these teams, but I know USC's got a pretty good quarterback. That's about all I know. So I'm going Stanford on this, and it's asking us for total points in Iowa State. So we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll put it on there.
We'll put it. Yeah, that's not. I'm going to be honest with you. It's not going to. None of you are going to get 10 out of 10. Neither are we. No. It's not going to get that close. But what you should do is go check out the Facebook post. Check out our the quote suite that we have. That will be our pin suite on SportsDen_live on your Twitter, and come join our league.
Mm-hmm.
See how you match up, and after you get done, or when you want to blow off some steam, make sure you go to Green Acres Sporting Goods and make sure you go get your ammo and go get you some guns, but not because you lost.
You know what I suggest we do?
Do it live from there.
No, even better. So we print out the logos of each team.
Mm-hmm.
And we shoot at the logo on a range that we're picking.
Oh, that's actually a good idea.
From Green Acres.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
This is where we need to have the little clap music or the gun music on our little
Z, what do we think?
On our little board, and we just kind of push the buttons. But that's a good idea. Make sure you join the league. As many people as you can. Tell your friends. See how you match up with it. We mess around and we get even more sponsors for it. We may even have some prizes. But stay tuned. Check out the Sports Den coming up next.